Hi, Ralph. It's Greg with Incline. Appreciate you taking a moment and communicating via email. As promised, just wanted to put together a hopefully brief video, just walking through some things that we see that might and recommendations that we feel might help you guys improve, capture some additional traffic, but also influence that traffic to do something and engage with you guys. So. Real brief, I'm the founder and owner of Incline. We're a full service digital marketing agency focused on revenue growth through customer acquisition. I have an IT background, so I kind of a special place for helping managed service providers grow, increase the MRR. So I'm happy to share more later, but we're big on value first. And that's why I wanted to put this together, just a quick assessment, of what we see from the outside looking in. And hopefully it's beneficial. And if you'd like to learn more, discuss further, obviously we can always set a time to jump on a call. Um, when looking at your website, first we noticed that it looks like you're on WordPress, which is good. We're big fans of WordPress. Notice you have Google Analytics installed. It looks like you're using Hotjar, a couple other things. So you probably likely saw me floating around on the site here. Um, One thing I do like, actually, I really like the video that you have, and some of the content that you have. It's not bad. We would likely maybe recommend some restructuring. You do have what's called thin content, meaning there's only about, I think it was 600 to 800 words on this homepage. Uh, Ideally, you want at least 1,000 or more on the homepage, and really minimum of 500 per page across the board throughout the rest of the website. Reason being, Google doesn't really consider websites to have a level of prominence until they're hitting about 20,000 words. So that's one thing. Another is I notice you have a feedback, for any potential feedback. The mobility thing is good, but a simple, add-on, again, we can provide it. There's other free ones I could recommend, but a chat pop-up, about 60% of users kind of have an expectation that there's going to be a chat, widget or platform on a website. But just by simply having that there, that'll help with the engagement. Um, Again, you know, if from a user interface standpoint, it's not bad. We again could recommend some improvements, maybe updating it a little bit. But we did run a preliminary online performance review, if you will. Again, we don't have access, so there's some limitations here. We didn't plug in specific competitors. We would do a full-blown website quality audit, breaking down everything with competitor gap analysis, backlinks, and everything, to kind of walk through and formulate a strategy that would make sense. But just from what we can see from the outside, hopefully this is somewhat accurate, but it looks like over the years you've had some traffic, but never really got past. It looks like you're hovering around 40, 45 in organic traffic. From what we saw looking at some more of the data, it looks like it's mainly people typing in literally Silverback Consulting. So it's a lot of direct traffic. So we would encourage you to create some additional content to capture some more targeted keywords or high value keywords. And what we mean by that is basically keywords that have buyer's intent. So whether it's someone looking for, IT consulting company near me, for example. Um, your spam score is low, which is good. Backlinks are okay. Definitely would want to improve on that. That helps with the trust. The URL rating and domain authority, again, it's okay. But being in the industry, it's only going to continuously get more competitive. So we definitely want to ramp some of that up. Um, and again, I'm happy to share this with you. We also did a audit of the content on the homepage. We would end up doing this for every page throughout the website. So right now the readability is good, for especially for your viewers. The word count is a little low. Again, it looks like for the industry, it's suggesting even over 4,000 words of content, and obviously we're far below that. So we definitely want to ramp that up. Um, and again, that's kind of what's leading to the score itself being bad. Um, Again, to touch on a few things that we'd recommend you'd want to focus on is the speed. primarily around the mobile. Um, so when someone actually logs in or punches in your website or clicks on a link and goes to your website, we want to help ramp up the load times and the interaction basically, and that's kind of what this is speaking to. Um, so those are some more technical things, but again, we certainly can help with that. Um, and I did look at your business profile, so that's good. 77 all 5-star reviews. That's awesome. That's actually one of the reasons why we reached out to you is because we see that you have a good foundation, if you will, but definitely some room for improvement, and we feel strongly that we can help you. So again, overall, not too bad. I would recommend maybe posting at least monthly on this, just adding something new, maybe even adding in a couple Q&A questions, FAQs on the profile itself. But the biggest thing is you want to try to capture those that are looking for specifically what you do. And if I used a couple example keywords and typed in, and these are some of the competitors that kind of popped up. I don't know if any of these sound familiar to you, but Pueblo Tech, and I'll kind of walk through some of these. Tech Reach looks like they're probably a larger organization and they have different locations. Um, Power IT, MSP, and then uh, General Informatics, right? So um, going back to Pueblo, again, there's definitely recommendations that I would suggest for these guys, but I'm focused on you. So overall, it's okay, but you'll notice they have a little bit more words, a little bit more pieces of content on here. So that's kind of helping them rank. However, they still have some issues with the headings. And again, going to your site, um, you know, definitely something that you want to implement is what's called an H1 header. We notice that you have some other headers. I believe this is an H2, but an H1 it's vital for letting the algorithms know, what your website is about, and then everything else beyond that just kind of supports it. To give you an idea, so if we go to this company, TechReach, and if I were to punch in and look at the code here, surprisingly, I actually initially at a glance thought that the managed IT services Pueblo, Colorado was their H1 header, but it's actually not. They have it as this. Usually the larger bold print, especially if it speaks to the industry, that's typically the H1 header, but they have it as this. So if you notice, I don't know if it's hard for you to see, um, in the top left of this little box, it's in uh, purple. It says H1. So the last IT company your business will hire. But they are still ranking for managed IT services in Pueblo, Colorado, and we can kind of test that out. So if we were to go to Google, right, managed IT services, Pueblo, Colorado, right? Um, so you'll see they're right here. So when you first do a search, right, you're going to see a few different things pop up. And part of what our team does is we look at um, everything at what's called the keyword level. So depending on what the search is, you're going to get different search results. So for this particular keyword, managed IT services, Pueblo, Colorado, you're going to see typically 3 to 5 Google ads, and that's what the sponsored links are here. So you see 1, 2, 3, 4 showed up, and then from there you get the search engine results page organic listings. So um, that's where Frontier comes in here. They also are in the knowledge graph, right? So they're ranking pretty high. And ideally, you want to be in the top spot um, in what's called above the fold, meaning before you scroll. So for this particular keyword, we would potentially make some recommendations. Always would recommend SEO. It is vital and it's important, but maybe even incorporating some form of ads, right? Or some additional content that helps you get into the knowledge graphs. Um, you know, just based off that keyword, that would help you capture that. And that's kind of what Frontier is doing here. So, but again, if you scroll down, it looks like that TechReach is has a third organic listing, and that's again what pulled up where are they? This particular page. So again, one of the things that we can incorporate, if you want to do it on your own, you're free to do that. Is regularly putting out educational articles or pieces of content, but also location in what's called service area pages. So looks like TechReach is not actually headquartered in Colorado, but they do have a specific um, location-based page, speaking to Pueblo, Colorado for managed IT services. So that's exactly some stuff that we would do for you. We would basically understand your target markets, cities, towns, locations, services that you want to provide and target and reach, and we essentially would create content speaking to all of that over periods of time to capture more of a market share, you know, and interest in those services. So, but again, they have that H1 in place. The aesthetic, it's fairly modernized, right? They have the buttons, breaking things down. Again, they don't have a huge amount of content, but the structure and the layout, it's quote unquote appeasing. They do have a map which helps. Again, that's kind of built in, so that's another recommendation. And then reviews, which I know that you guys have that listed on your site as well. So just a couple, key pointers. Even if you can see, if I hover over your website, your meta title just says Home Silverback Consulting. So just by simply adding something in, I think your meta description was good, but adding something that into the meta title is speaking to the services that you provide or that you want to get, such as managed security service provider, Silverback Consulting, for example. So things like that. Again, looking, I believe, yeah. So your meta title, your description was good. It looks like it says Silverback Consulting is your trusted managed security service provider, ready to guide you a secure and technologically efficient future, right? So that was good, but the title itself, we definitely want to add that in because all it is right now is just home and then hyphen Silverback Consulting. So again, to wrap it up, you know, big things are content. We definitely want to incorporate more on the existing site pages and then build that out over time, even through additional location pages and then articles as well. I did also, by the way, just did a quick test on this first or the latest blog article that you have. It looks like it had about a 90%, what was it? Yeah, it's shown that it's AI generated. The probability for AI is 90%. So, um, if that was the case, then it's noticeable. And again, that unfortunately, until we're in the midst, as you know, of AI getting better and better, but we still can potentially have a negative impact. If the content itself is good, then it might be okay. I actually didn't read through it just yet, but that's something that you want to be conscious of. And it looks like you guys were doing about one a month, for a period of time. So we would recommend again trying to ramp that up. So these are all things that we could help with from the technical side, the local side, on page, off page, and then helping build the trust and the authority with the end goal of getting you more visibility, online presence, and then obviously delivering quality traffic that results in new business for you. So I hope that helps. I know that was kind of long. I'm happy to jump further, dig further in. If you'd like to schedule some time, we could even put together a proposal based off of some what we see, and then hopefully be of value for you moving forward. All right, thanks, Ralph. Take care.